And so today we have wonderful brother Allen to speak to us. And in terms of the timing, about 3 o'clock, we're going to have Q&A. And that Q&A can have two forms. One is you can type in the chat group your questions or comments. And the second one is that you can also unmute your sound so that you can interact with Alan what question you want. Okay? So shall we have a word of prayer? Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for this webinar that even with COVID-19, nobody can stop us, that we still can share through this wonderful Zoom technology. And so, Lord, as you brought different brothers and sisters in this Zoom session, that as you download to Alan and as we receive it with joy, with learning, in terms of learn, unlearn, and relearn the foundation we are talking about. So bless us, Lord, as your group in FFM to 3F, family, finance, and fitness. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, this Professor Stanley, for your prayer. And I think many of you would have actually been following us. This must be our 20th, I think, the webinar since this MCO. So every week, Family First Malaysia, we invited different speakers to come on and to share with us on the family values and as well as also on the financial stewardship plus the fitness. And we have wonderful speakers and we have received so many, I would say, the very good reports from the speakers that actually have come on to share with us. So I have known Allen for, a long time. I think it must be over 20 years now. And, the last time when I was in Kota, Kinabalu, when I was speaking at a church, and the pastor actually assigned him to look after me. And he's a wonderful friend, and we have been friends ever since. And every time that he comes down to actually to actually come and also stay in Kuala Lumpur, and that is where we always connect together. So before I actually go into detail of Brother Allen, I want to just let all of you know what FFM is all about, so that you will be able to also come and journey with us. All right. So, media, are you on?
Family First Malaysia is a non-profit organization. We serve people regardless of ethnic, religious background, or social status. We practice these 7 values that govern our words and actions. We believe every human being is of infinite worth, and the best place to discover this is within the family. We believe that strong, healthy families are the cornerstone of civilization. We believe every family can be happier, stronger, and more united. We believe in the power of prayer and the eternal value of every soul. We believe in the power of partnership, that together we can do much more than we could ever do on our own. We believe we must always conduct all our operations, partnerships, and finances with the highest ethical and moral standards. We believe we must always respect and fully comply with all local and national laws in every jurisdiction in which we operate. Family First Malaysia vision exists to transform next generation fathers, supported by mothers, to build better families, resulting in a better workplace, a better society, and a stronger nation. And our mission is to partner with like-minded organizations to restore, reshape, and release men and women to become better couples and parents in the context of original marriage with 3F focus, that is family, finance, and also fitness. So these are the 3 pillars of Family First Malaysia, that on the better family front, we have altogether 6 modules that covers these better families, that in terms of this noble family vision, strengthening marriage, and the role of a husband and the role of a wife, and intimacy plus parenting. And on the better finance, we have 4 modules that help our disciples to be able to actually learn how to become a better stewardship in terms of finance. And at the same time, they must also understand God's purpose for money, plus how to manage their finance as a couple, and also finally on the financial freedom. On the better fitness side, we believe that, if once we are physically, financially healthy, on our, physical side, we must also equip ourselves, mentally as well. So we need to actually have a proper nutrition and also exercise. So in this module, in this particular pillar, we have 2 modules that actually help our disciples to actually know how to take care of their physical health. In family, we believe that we want to double our love, our joy, and peace in our families to restore broken relationships, reshape the home environment, and release the next generation leaders, using home as the starting point of leadership training. And in terms of finance, we want to double our income on net profit ethically and righteously. We value innovation to double our giving. We all bad debt settled and achieving oneness with money as a family, beginning with fathers and mothers to model better financial stewardship. On the fitness side, we want to double our mental and also physical health through cultivation of positive mental attitude, holistic exercise and nutrition, resulting in high energy and wisdom to achieve things of big and lasting impact. Family First Malaysia, you can follow us on this, the website. Please take up your phone and then scan in. Then you can follow us for all the updates and also all our activities. Because every week we run the webinar, and we are inviting all those, these, very anointed speakers to come and share with us on the family values and also on the different matters concerning families. Now, our organization, since it's a non-profit organization, we are all running on the pro bono basis, and every single dollar that is given, that's donated to us, will be properly used in running these family first activities in Malaysia. And thank you so much for joining us in this, webinar, so that we'll be able to continue to journey on together. Thank you.
Yeah, and don't forget about next week. We have a wonderful speaker that will come on next week. Media, can you put on the speaker next week? Yeah, next week we have this good friend of mine who is used to be an ex-ambassador to Canada. Dato Selvin Das. They will come on to speak about as for me and my house. That means he and the entire household, how he talks about his journey serving the Lord together. He's a wonderful speaker. So don't forget to come on. For those of you, just scan on the our QR code. And then you can come on. All right. Now, today we have this, as I shared with you just now, this good friend of mine, Allen Tong. He hails from Kota, Kinabalu, and he used to work as a chartered accountant with actually Marwick, and for now known as KPMG. He's a big four. All right. and is married to Jeanette, wonderful, sister in Christ, and also they have 3, great children and 4 grandchildren, right? Now I have 5 grandchildren, Alan. so it's good. Now Alan provides management consultancy and also business advisory services, all right, to his corporate clients. And he's also the founder and charter president of the Rotary Club of Kota, Kinabalu, Sutera. And he is also the founding president of the Habitat for Humanity in Kota Kinabalu. Now he's very passionate, about learning, improving himself and progressing on a daily basis. And he reads a lot. And that's why his mantra in life is be excellent, get results, go the extra mile. So in his, wonderful, let us all put our hands together to welcome Allen Tong.
Thank you very much, Chairman, Brother Tan Tek Singh. First of all, I'd like to thank you and Family First Malaysia and also Sister Tinky for inviting me to share this afternoon. I'm very honored for this invitation, and I just want to share my journey. Some of it may relate to you, and you may find certain light bulbs being turned on, and then you can take it from there, because I'm actually not your financial advisor. So everything that I say relating to finance or investment is my journey. I've also made a lot of money mistakes and financial mistakes in my life. Nobody is perfect. So just bear with me. And I like this session to be as interactive as possible, because money is something which finance is something which affects every family. Every family will be in one way or another affected by finance. Some people say money, there's no guarantee that money can buy happiness. Do you agree with that? Can money buy happiness? One thing for sure is no money can buy a miserable life. So it's better to have good financial planning. So today's session is about building family financial foundation. And building family financial foundation means you have to build. So where are you today? Where are you today in terms of your financial situation? Let me put on the slides. All right. Can you see my slide?
Yes, you have to enlarge it.
Very you go to enlarge
Okay.
it. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm also trying to minimize the video because it's blocking me on this side. Just give me a fraction of a moment. All right. The key word here is building. We continue to build on a day-to-day basis. So what is the status of our building? And do we actually involve, and how extensive do we involve our family? When I was growing up as a child, I remember my parents and the whole family, we never talk about money on the dinner table. It is something which is not even mentioned. I had no idea how much my parents were earning. Both of them were civil servants with the government. And till today, I don't know how much they earn, but we were able to get along. All our 8 siblings had enough to eat, enough food on the table, and both my parents were working, so we had two sources of income. And we had a telephone in the house, and we had a Morris Minor. But was there any financial planning or building a financial foundation? As far as I recall, as a child until even my adult age, there was no such discussion with the family. So I want to say that one of my mantra is be excellent, get results, go the extra mile. What does this mean? Do you know anyone who is excellent in their conduct of their daily affair and daily work? And one of the person whom I want to mention, who is an excellent friend, excellent brother, and very professional in how he carries himself, is actually the chairman of Family First Malaysia, Dr. Tan Teck Seng himself. I have met him about 20 years ago, and we get along well. And every time I'm in Kuala Lumpur, he invites me for dinner. And he's a very good host. When I go into his car is immaculate, even though it is not a brand new car, but it looks just like a brand new car. It's extremely clean. And if you look at him, he's very well dressed, very smart, not a strand of his hair is out of place. So that is our brother, Dr. Tan Teck Seng. And I even had the honor of visiting his home. And similarly, his house is in an immaculate situation. So this brother is a fine example for us to emulate. He is truly an excellent person. And he gets results because his social skills are really, really good. He's friendly, he's outgoing, people can interact with him easily. He's warm, he's gracious, he's generous. And he's just one phone call away from corporate CEOs and influential leaders. And Brother Tan Teck Seng definitely go the extra mile. He offers to pick me up from the airport and send me off in the airport. The traffic situation in Kuala Lumpur is horrendous. But of course, I won't allow him to do that because the airport is very, very far away. But he goes the extra mile. For those of you who know him, knows what I'm talking about. So he lives this mantra, be excellent, get results, and go the extra mile. Don't you think we need to have this mantra for us to build family financial foundation? We have to continue building and we have to involve our family. Unlike the time of my parents, we were children, and children are not meant to say any words in front of the adults. And as I was introduced by Brother Teck Seng, I'm a chartered accountant. And even then, I have made investment mistakes and spending mistakes myself. So at this stage, I want to ask you, most of you are family people and have children or even grandchildren. What is the purpose you send your children to school? Well, you send your children to school so that they can get an education. What is the purpose of the education? When they get an education, we expect them to be able to find a job and eventually become independent financially and can have a good and happy life. So that is the general objective. Or do we just send our children to school just because everybody is sending their children to school? Obviously not. We send our kids to school so that they can get an education, they can have a good life, and eventually they will be happy, and they can also have children whom they can train to have a good life. So that is the basis of the journey. So my journey is such that at this stage, I find it so exciting in this era compared to the time when I was just coming out into the working world. Things are so different. We have so many tools and platforms now to help us. And there's going to be phenomenal growth in the next 10 years. In which area are this growth? Are we aware of the exponential growth and the kind of wealth that will be created in the next few years? There's so many things that is so exciting. I find it that we can actually latch onto this, and because of the internet, it is so accessible. We can learn so many things on the YouTube, on the podcast, and most of these things are actually free. So at this stage, I just want to ask you, all of you who have logged in, and thank you for logging in, do you know this person? You can type into the chat box, who is this person? He is 90 years old and he is one of the richest men in the world. He is one of the top investors, and he started investing at the age of 8 years old. And he made his first million when he was in his 20s. His name is Warren Buffett. He is 90 years old now, and his net worth is 84 billion. The company that he owns is called Berkshire Hathaway. Now, if your grandfather had invested $10,000 in 1964 in this company called Berkshire Hathaway, and let's say you have a very forgetful grandfather who forgot that he invested this 10,000 in this company and never looked at it, and he found the shares in a drawer. It is now worth $250 million. That is a tremendous growth over the last 56 years. Just putting the money. So Warren Buffett has got a track record, and even though at the age of 90, he reads 5 to 8 hours a day, 500 to 800 pages. And what does he read? So reading for him is reading annual accounts and accounts, financial reports, etc. So that is his work. We work 5 to 8 hours, sometimes even 10 to 12 hours a day. What is our work? His work, because he's an investor, he makes it a point to study all he can about companies, and that is how he improves his knowledge. Now, can we do it? Can we also spend the time to focus and learn? I know I just heard a sharing by one young person, actually a Singaporean. He says that he wanted to learn how to sell things online on the internet, but he had no prior experience and he had no products to sell. So he enrolled for a course to learn how to sell. And in order for him to learn in a serious manner, he booked himself into a hotel for 3 nights, 4 days, and switched off his handphone, and he learned from there how to sell things on Amazon. If you all have heard of Amazon, it's one of the most successful company, and the founder, Jeff Bezos, is one of the richest men in the world. So back to this young man from Singapore, he spent 3 days learning about how to trade and how to sell things in Amazon. And that was only 4 years ago. Today, he's doing a sales of more than 20 million US per year. Now, don't you think that is phenomenal for someone who has not got any of his own product? So his first product was something that he had no notion or no idea what to do. So because his wife was expecting their first child, they decided to sell baby products, and they source it from China, and their only market and their biggest market is in the US. So actually business is, in a manner of speaking, enhanced by today's technology and the accessibility through the World Wide Web. You can just take a photo today or a video on YouTube, and you can send it, upload it, and people from any part of the world can actually view it almost instantly, and it's almost free. So just look at Warren Buffett at the age of 90. In fact, his partner Charlie Munger is 95 years old, and both of them are still going strong in the investment world. So where are we? Some of us are not even close to this age. Am I? I'm not sure, but I keep looking at Stanley from here.
Now you are out of the
the
out of your screen. Can you share your screen again?
Can you share your, just stop share and then go into the share screen again?
Just now was okay. Yeah, you click the share screen. Yes, okay. Make it big and large it. Yeah.
The button doesn't want to work. The enlarge button doesn't want to work.
Oh, is it?
Wait, I stop share first. Okay. I'll come back again. Right, can you see it?
Yes, yes, good.
All right.
Good.
So how do I turn to the next slide? Okay. I'll now move on to the 4 essential pillars for us to look at, and this is my journey. You may relate to some of it, and I hope it will switch on some light bulbs in your mind. So feel free to type in your questions as we go along, because it would be great to have your interaction. So the first pillar I'm talking about is having a plan. The plan, like in anything, is the why. What is the big, hairy, audacious goal, your BHAG? If your why is not big enough, then your plan may also not give you the kind of clarity. Just like I mentioned, my parents just went on living on a day-to-day basis, getting their end of the month paycheck as civil servants. We were quite happy, actually, the 8 siblings. And was there a big why in our family? We did not have any business investments. My parents did not know how to buy properties. They did not have an entrepreneurial mindset. And we actually do not have even business friends that are around us. So, what about us now? Based on the opportunities and the trend of what is happening in the market, what is our plan for our family? There are so many different things for different people. Your big why and your big, hairy, audacious goal. Let me share with you my BHAG. My BHAG is my family, my wife, my children, and my grandchildren. My daughter and her husband and their daughter, they work in Singapore. And my son here with his 3 children, they live in Kota, Kinabalu. And my eldest son here, Julian, he's not married. And this is my driving force. I believe many of you will have the same driving force. I spend a fair amount of time talking and sharing financial intelligence and financial literacy with my adult children. I bring them in, I invite them in, I open up. When they were younger, I could not actually talk to them about finances, but now I even teach my grandchildren financial intelligence and financial literacy. I play a lot of board games with them. This is my big why. What is your big why? What is your big, hairy, audacious goal? And how do you plan? When I plan together with my wife. Previously, whenever I invest or buy something, I do it on my own because I thought that I'm the decision maker and I don't need to consult anyone. Today is different. I consult every single one of my adult children and I take my time. I don't rush in to do any investment because there's so many interesting, exciting, and very tempting opportunities that when we should simply just rush in headlong, we will get into trouble because we have not thought about the what if. All the other things will be blindsided because of maybe our eagerness to be the first in because of FOMO, the fear of missing out, and so many things because of our belief system, our values. Therefore, the planning is extremely important to involve every single one of your adult children, even if they are not physically near you, get them involved. Say things like, I'm thinking of buying this piece of land, or I'm thinking of doing this investment, or going to this joint venture. What do you think? The amount required is this much, and so on. So I share my files and my records with my adult children. They know where I keep them. They know about my life insurance. They know about my bank accounts, my investments in properties, as well as stocks and shares. They know where to access it in the event of my leaving this world. So I make sure that the records are clear for them to be able to follow up and not be in a dilemma or be blur about what all those records are all about. Now, the second thing that we need when we talk about building family financial foundation are the building blocks. This is called the what. The first one is the why. So this is the what. What do we need for these building blocks? Obviously, to build a sound financial foundation, we require money. Money is critical, and money comes from work and generation of income. So the 3 building blocks that are critical and important will be money, income, and cash flow. We got to make sure that we manage our cash flow well, the money that's coming in and going out. Be on top of your numbers, know what they are, know about how you can stack even whatever portfolio that you are having now. Ensure that these portfolios are not dwindling, but in fact, they are growing because of the extreme wealth and the exponential growth that is what we are actually experiencing right now. The opportunities for increasing our financial foundation is just at our doorsteps. So when we know our why, our big, hairy, audacious goal is clear enough, and we have the building blocks, we build upon these facets. The third thing is the method, which is called the how. Now, different strokes for different folks. How did you first make your money, or maybe even your first million? Was there a systematic way that you made your first million? When you look at our nation, particularly I'm talking about Malaysia, we went through a time when there was a lot of development. You know, the Vietnam War ended sometime in 1975. I started work in 1970 after finishing my Form 6 examinations in 1969. And everybody knows what happened in 1969, May 13 incident. That was in May 1969. I was staying in Seramban. And I started work in Kuala Lumpur in February 1970. Just about 8 or 9 months thereafter, I was very young and I was earning $200. It was enough to pay for my room rent and my bus fare and my food. And I learned about stock market because of the people around me. I work in a chartered accounting firm called Peat, Marwick, Mitchell and Company. And many of the seniors who came back from abroad, the chartered accountants, came back from abroad after they qualified from Canada, from Australia, from the UK. They were talking about among themselves about stock market and how the big companies in those modern cities conduct their business. As a young and curious and adventurous person, I asked a lot of questions and I began to learn. So that was my environment. My first environment was my parents who never talk about money. That was in Seramban, which of course was very conservative in the 50s and the 60s when I was growing up. And then in 1970, I moved to Kuala Lumpur and I was in a totally different world. And this was the area where I was influenced by the environment and the people around me. And that was when I opened my first stockbroking account with Seagrove and Campbell in Lian Lian building, if some of you can recall. So the method of building your finances and your financial foundation will be different for different people. So some of it may suit you. Some of you may prefer to have investment in unit trusts. Some of you may want to invest in properties. And I know many would also invest in starting their own business. So it depends on your skills, your skill sets, which brings me to the fourth pillar, which is the skill sets, which is the who. So we have the why, the what, the how, and the who. When you are planning your financial foundation for your family, what are the skill sets that you need? These skill sets can be limited if we depend on ourselves. Ensure that you have experienced and professional people who can guide you, ask questions. Some of the people whom I think many of you can have access to are bankers, lawyers, financial advisors, insurance consultants, and business people who are successful. You can actually sit down, call them out for a drink, talk to them, and just listen and learn. If you are interested in real estate, Then you talk to real estate agents, you talk to valuation professionals. For example, I wanted to invest in real estate, and it was the year 2003. Somehow a thought came into my mind to buy one property a year. I don't know how that thought came into my mind to buy one property a year, and that was, is it God speaking to me? Anyway, I asked myself this question: if I were to buy one property a year, what do I need? Well, I need to have information, I need to have knowledge, I need to have know how, and obviously, I need to have access to finances. And I need to know where to buy, what to buy, how to buy. I decided to improve and increase my skill sets by first going to all the property fairs in our city in Kota Kinabalu, where I now live. And these property fairs normally last for 4 days, starting on Thursday onto Sunday. So I said, okay, it takes the organizer a long time to invite so many of the property developers to take up a booth to promote their properties. So I went early and I went every day and I spent several hours in the property fair. And I go from booth to booth asking almost the same questions. Where's your property? How many units you have? How's your offer? What are the special bonuses this time during this property fair? And what are the various different type of condos that you're offering? What is the accessibility? And what is the financing? And who is the developer? What track record have they got? So by so doing, I learned about the developers from Penang, from Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, and some even from Malacca. And in that 4 days, I also attend the talks that they have by various people during the fair. And I also started attending seminars and workshops. I started doing a lot of my own reading. I took it upon myself seriously to develop my skill sets and my knowledge on properties. And did I manage to buy one property a year? Because most of my peers and many people I know actually have one main property, which is their residence, and maybe they may buy another condo or two in their lifetime. But here am I deciding to buy one property a year. And I managed to do it because my first two properties can finance my third property. And then the three properties can finance my fourth and fifth property. And then my 5 properties can finance my sixth and seventh properties. So by building it this way, I have capital appreciation as well as income from my properties. And when the properties have matured and reached a certain value, I sell them off to take the capital gains and avoid the real property gains tax in our country. And that was how I developed my skill sets. Sorry, am I on the next slide?
Yes, you are. You are.
Okay, so that is my journey. I hope you have also got your own ways of developing your skill sets. So you know your why, your what, your how, and your who. So what do I need to reach my first million? I am giving some coaching and mentoring to some millennials. As a boomer, and many of you are boomers, my peers, we find that millennials today are a different breed of people. Not not easy for us to understand them, and also they have their own way. They are very creative and they are very innovative. So they often ask me the question of what do I need to reach my first million? The important thing is mindset. Mindset is very, very important because if we have an old thinking and an old mindset, we will not be able to even take the first step. And obviously, money management is very important. For example, when I invest into the stock market, I would say that every one of us, whether we like it or not, we are investors. We have got income, we have expenses, and I would advocate that we pay ourselves first. Whatever income you have, if you're earning, say, 3,000 a month, take out $300 and pay yourself first. Don't look at it. Just live on the balance. Make it a habit and start from young. So money management is extremely important. Even if we should go into investing in stocks and shares, we need to wear the hat of an investor businessman. We need to wear the hat of a capital allocator. We need to allocate a certain amount. Just imagine, as I showed you earlier, if your grandfather or even your parents had invested $10,000 in Berkshire Hathaway in 1964, it's worth more than 250 million US dollars today, which is more than a billion ringgit. Just imagine. So the methods, the money management and the mindset is critical. The 4 levels of wealth is scarcity, financial independence, prosperity, and wealth impact. Where do you think you are? Can you type it into the chat box? Where do you think you are at this moment? Now, whether we like it or not, like for me, I come from the time when I shared my parents were just working class, and obviously we had a lot of scarcity in our life. And I made a study about scarcity, and I find that people who have this scarcity mentality, they normally have limited income and have a mentality of being hard up and even negative. They are often inward looking and oftentimes calculative. So, are we calculative? Are we negative? Are we even manipulative? Well, sometimes as a boss, we can manipulate our executives, our staff who are working with us. We can take advantage of them because this scarcity mentality has not left us, even though we may have some prosperity in us now. So we have to stay guarded about the negative connotations, taking advantage of people. And this can also lead to relationship problems. We are hurt, we're in pain, and it's not resolved. And we can get insecure, narrow minded, have a fear mentality, and become judgmental, get upset easily, get angry. Oftentimes, we don't trust others. And what do we need to break out of this scarcity? We need breakthrough, financial breakthrough. The next level is financial independence. Financial independence are people who are not burdened to others. They are people who are dependable. They are moderately moderate givers. They contribute every now and then to projects and they go for volunteerism. Generally, they're in a comfort zone and some of them are not willing to take risks and perhaps even under a FOMO syndrome. FOMO is fear of missing out. Many times we go through the FOMO syndrome without even realizing it. They have a feeling of not enough, and most of the time they're unsure what to do next, or they do not know what to do next, or maybe they are so hardened in their way of thinking that enough is enough, we have enough for ourselves. The next level is prosperity. Prosperity, if you are in the third level and living in prosperity, are there still any remnants of scarcity mentality in your mind? I'm sure there will be, but it's a matter of degree of how much of that scarcity mentality. People who are in the level of prosperity are often having a luxurious lifestyle, fairly flamboyant. They are generous, very generous. They have nice homes, luxurious cars. They have club memberships. They have maybe even branded watch and branded handbags, and certainly exotic holidays. But are they also in a comfort zone? Yes, they are also in a comfort zone. However, they have huge monthly income. And sometimes, from my observation, they are also quite wasteful and tend to be overconfident. So those are the people in the prosperity. And on the fourth level is the wealth impact. Wealth impact are generally people with billions of dollars at their disposal. These are people who have great leadership. They are decisive. They are positive. They have an abundant mentality. They are great producers. They are not afraid of losses because whatever they lose, they can make it back. They are very influential. They have great friends, influential friends, and they have many followers. They are powerful and they are great givers. They give unconditionally. So it's for us to examine where we are and how we actually become conscious of where we are so that we can know that we are not stuck in the scarcity mentality. I am not looking at the chat box and I hope that some of you will actually ask some questions because we are quite close to the first half, 45 minutes. And now I will move on to how we should actually and must improve our financial intelligence and financial literacy, I say daily. Just spend 10 minutes to 15 minutes a day to improve yourself. Well, there are three types of education that most of us are aware of. Number one is academic education. Number two is professional education. And number three is financial education. So who taught you everything about money? If you look at the various levels of education, you'll see that in the academic education, we send our children to learn how to read and write. They learn about discipline in school, about punctuality, being on time. They learn about respecting their classmates and their teachers, and they learn about how to cooperate, give and take, social interaction, and learn about responsibilities and making friends, apart from getting an education and a degree. The second level is professional education, where we actually develop higher level of learning, knowledge, and skill sets. And we have potentially better earnings and opportunities as a professional, or so it seems. But I know that many professionals have actually lost their jobs and lost their income in this challenging COVID time. Now, financial education is something which is not taught in school. We learn it from our parents and from the authoritative figures around us. Now, these are my parents, my mother and father. I learned my financial money habits from them. What I know is they taught me and they opened a savings account for me and they gave me a piggy bank to save my coins and my ang pao money. So that was how I learned about saving and buying my own things. So you see, my parents are very conservative and they had a Baba wedding. Now, in our mind, somebody sent this to us. I think it was from our WhatsApp group. The ancestral mathematics says that we have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great grandparents, 16 second great grandparents, 32 third great grandparents, 64 fourth great grandparents, and so on up to 2048 ninth great grandparents. Just going back 12 generations, we have 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years. Now, why am I showing you this? Because etched into our DNA and into our cells, we have all this thinking right down from our ancestors till today. Are we still having the old mindset to make financial decisions today? I'm sure there are remnants that are there to cast fears, and that is why sometimes when an opportunity comes forth to us, the scarcity mentality will just jump up. We are so afraid that everybody out there is out to get our money. So when we get an opportunity, like what I say, I do not just jump into it. I consult all my family members, I do all my research, and I take at least 6 months before I make a commitment. So that gives me a lot of time to do my research. My next thing is on my financial lifestyle, which I'd like to mention that I invest all my income. There's a story about Warren Buffett and a few of his billionaire friends. They were just standing by and somebody dropped $1 and decided not to even pick it up, and none of the other billionaires picked it up. Warren Buffett bent over and picked up $1 and he held it up and told his friends, "Here is the start of the next $1 billion. I invest almost all my income into investment that will give me better returns, not just from the fixed deposit, which is very low. The bank interest now is extremely low. Now, what are my indulgence in my financial lifestyle? I think about the only expensive thing that I buy, really speaking, is my iPhone and my computer laptop. This is a must. My iPhone, I have the best and the highest configuration. I don't mind paying a little bit more because a smartphone and my laptop are also productive tools for me. I don't have branded goods. I don't have luxurious cars. I don't have those kind of desire. I have a Rolex watch, which was given to me by my wife, I think about 20 years ago. I still have it. And I am actually very willing to spend on a few things. I want to ensure that I have good Wi-Fi connection. I've got good books, which I have here. Can you see some of these books that I have? All right. So I invest in books and I invest also a lot in seminars and personal development, as well as subscription. I subscribe to quite a number of courses, and this will help me in my growth and my knowledge. So I double down on my learning. I have quality family time. I play a lot of board games and cash flow games here. Have you guys played this game before? Cash Flow 101? Yeah. I play cash flow with my grandchildren and a Monopoly and chess. Even though they're very young, I play chess with them online, and they become quite familiar with the various moves, because chess is a very strategic game for planning and for attack and defense. So it's really good. I've learned to play chess from a very, very young age, ever since the days of Bobby Fischer. So let me ask you one question. Is investing dangerous? Is it risky? Of course, investing has got its risks, just like driving, but it is the investor who is more risky, or just like if you are not trained to drive, therefore you will be a risk to other road users. My next question is, what is your investment philosophy? Let me share with you my investment philosophy. I have three, which is number one, thorough examination. I do thorough evaluation of what I invest into. Number two, preservation of capital. Number three, I have a targeted rate of return. So these are my three investment philosophies. Number one, thorough evaluation. Number two, preservation of capital. And number three, my targeted rate of return. And today, we have to face the stark reality. This is a wake-up call because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many people and many businesses are affected. Our supply chain has also been affected. Even as we order food delivered to our homes, there are our vegetable suppliers who have got their supply cut off. There's political uncertainty and also the US presidential election around the corner. And what about your currency? What about gold? Many people talking about gold, investing in gold, which is currently about $1,900, and some even forecast it will reach 2,500 or even 3,000 by the end of this year. And China has launched its digital yuan, and they are very serious of getting this off to their market, especially with them hosting the Winter Olympics in 2022. They've already got Starbucks and McDonald's and other companies to accept digital yuan for their transaction. So I strongly advise, or at least this is what I do, I list down my portfolio with my properties, my stock market, my bank account, my insurance, even some of my collectibles, etc., so that I'm always on top of my situation. For us to be on top of our situation, to be in control, don't wait for the inevitable to happen. We may be in business because there are only three ways to make our money work for us. Either you start your own business, or you invest in property, or you buy stocks and shares. Which method is more suitable for you? As I mentioned, I decided to buy one property a year in the year 2003, and eventually I bought several properties. Certain years I did not buy, but there were certain years I bought 2 or 3 properties at one go. So right now, I have actually consolidated our real estate, and I've sold off a lot of those that I appreciated significantly, and we are still earning good income from our rental collection. So I would like to say that in terms of income, there is passive income and active income. All right. And what does the future hold for us when we have active income and passive income? What do we invest in? Do we invest in these areas? There's going to be tremendous growth in healthcare, in genome technology, and what I call the ABCD5: artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, big data, and 5G, including machine learning. When we know the trend, we can make the trend our friend. We know where to put our money, so we are not afraid of making the wrong mistake. So what does it hold for our stock market now? That in Malaysia, Bursa Malaysia, I think will be negatively impacted because of the current ongoing intention to declare an emergency situation in our nation. So next week, we do not know how the Bursa Malaysia, the stock market, will react. I'm sure many foreign investors, in fact, they have already taken their money out due to the political uncertainty. And what about the US election, the presidential election? Which way will it go? Will it be Trump or will it be Biden? Whichever it is going to determine the movement of the stock market. And I'm also very much into the US stock market and into the options market. Be aware of all these trends because it will help you when you make the trend your friend. Knowing these things will actually reduce our risk when we are on top of our numbers, when we hold regular family discussions, and we improve our financial intelligence daily. By daily, what does it mean? You go to bed every day 1% better than when you woke up. So over a period of 30 days, you would have improved yourself by 30% in your financial IQ and your financial literacy. Learn from the best of the best, people like Warren Buffett. Make your money work smart for you. Why just put into the fixed deposit to earn 2 or 3% interest when you can get significantly more? I think many of us are able to give our children a very strong shoulder to stand on. And one of the things which I want to emphasize is ensure that your will is updated and written clearly. Review it regularly, including your life and medical insurance. Please do not just file these things away and take it for granted. Thank you very much for listening. So if there are any questions, I pass it on to Professor Stanley. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan, for that very comprehensive presentation. Maybe I start off with my questions. You just happen to have the interest in the financial matters. What do you say to those who do not have this interest?
All right. I started the same way. Thank you for the question, Professor Stanley. I started the same way. My parents did not have any investment knowledge or know-how. They don't have any business friends. And that was what they taught me when I was a kid until when I went to KL because I was a bit of an adventurous and curious person. So I think to some extent I learned by osmosis, and the senior chartered accountants who came back from overseas, obviously there was some influence. And eventually my company sent me to Sabah, and I also meet a lot of businessmen. So for people who do not have knowledge on financial areas, I would say do not shun it, do not turn away from it because it is not rocket science. Maybe you can just do something like and you know, if I mean if you have interest, development interest, because investing is seen to be risky and accounting is seen to be boring. That's why people want to have what they call instant gratification. They don't want to wait too long to get their returns. So for people who have no interest, I believe they could choose something which is easy, put their money into ETFs or into unit trusts, which will definitely give a better return. And for those who are actually in the working class, again, actually the Employees Provident Fund (EPF) is very good because your employer is paying 13% for you, and you can choose to pay another 7 or 8%. So your monthly contribution is 20%. It is a very good way of forced savings. And if you're working for 40 years, 45 years, the returns from the EPF is 6 to 6.5%, which is fairly reasonable when it is compounded. So you look at how you can actually benefit from the EPF, and what about your surplus funds? Many people actually waste it by being spendthrift. They actually buy things that they don't need, just like what I did before. And therefore, I would strongly encourage young people, especially the millennials, not to go to have a lifestyle like Starbucks and have expensive going out drinking sessions and things like that with their friends. So there are people who are fearful. Maybe also cross-check on your own area of scarcity. What is it holding you back? Who actually taught you these values? And you can actually overcome and get a mentor. Get a mentor to help you. Talk to somebody. People who are experienced.
Good. EPF and mentor, huh? Okay, there are two questions here. Let me see, Let me read direct to you. What do you think to invest in cryptocurrency trading, which is far better than property investment?
That's a very, very good question on cryptocurrency. When I was first told about cryptocurrency in the year 2008, 2009, it was about $800 for the Bitcoin. And the person who told me says that it will reach $3,000. I did not even bother to ask him more because I did not believe it. But Bitcoin has reached a high of 20,000 from that time, but it has since gone down to last month it was about $6,000 US. And because of the halving, this is the third time Bitcoin is had its halving, it has now gone up to 12,000 plus. And 2 days ago, PayPal announced that they will accept Bitcoin as a payment system. And because of that, Bitcoin jumped 8%. Now, if you ask a person like Warren Buffett, he does not believe in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency runs on on a blockchain, and whether we like it or not, this is a new norm. When you talk to somebody who is very familiar with Bitcoin and familiar with cryptocurrency, they will say that this will be the new thing, and being boomers ourselves, we cannot just totally avoid it. We have to learn about this. Just 2 days ago, I was listening to a talk by Dr. Clement Chang, who's from Singapore. He is a strong advocate for Bitcoin. He says put in 10% of your portfolio into Bitcoin. He reckons that Bitcoin, which is $13,000 now, will reach $100,000 by August 2021. Now, do you believe that? Right?
If you have
Do you
access
believe
to
that if your grandfather had put in $10,000 in 1964, today it is 250 million? Do you believe that? How we wish we had a forgetful grandfather who left it in the drawer for us to pick up the share certificate now. So, do your studies on cryptos. There's, apart from Bitcoin, there are many other like Ethereum and other Bitcoins which are being accepted as money. Even China now, they are coming up with their digital yuan, and it has already been approved and supported by all the banks in China, all the banks. So they are very, very serious about it. What do we do? Do we still adopt the old thinking and don't want to steer near that area? I will myself go and learn more about it. I will enroll in courses. I may lock myself up 3 days in my farm. I don't need to check into a hotel. I lock myself 3 days because I have very weak internet access there, and I will learn all about it. And in 3 days, I can learn many things which can take me to the next level. I want to have a breakthrough in my thinking, not to be in my comfort zone. As I mentioned earlier, many people are in their comfort zone. The other thing that is holding us back is we don't know what to do next, because we are so hardened in the way we think, the way we are brought up, the way our parents have taught us. So we're just happy where we are. No, it will not reach the kind of level. We don't need it. We have enough. But we are talking about wealth impact. How are we going to impact the world? What are we? Are we strong givers? Now, let me ask you, before you go to the next question, what is your definition of a millionaire? Well, traditionally, people say a millionaire is a person who has $1 million net worth. That is a generally accepted definition of a millionaire. Then I take it up one more level. I say a millionaire is a person who makes $1 million a year. Yeah, because today making $1 million a year is actually not that difficult. Then I say the next level is a person who makes $1 million a year without working. Now, how nice it is if you can make $1 million a year without working. So my ultimate definition of a millionaire is a person who can give away $1 million a year unconditionally. Now, how many of us are in the wealth impact that we can give away $1 million a year without even thinking twice, unconditionally? So the Bill Gates of the world, the Warren Buffett of the world, the Peter Lynch of the world, Jeff Bezos and all, they give hundreds of millions away a year. That just got me fired up on the definition of a millionaire. My own definition.
Thank you. So it looks like you are a millionaire now, huh? Okay, the next question. So the next question is, what is your view of precious metal performance regardless of who wins the US presidential election?
I think precious metal, gold and silver are the hot topics for the moment. Usually, um, silver is about 8 times. Is it 16 times the value? Gold is 16 times the value of silver. So silver now is around $250. They are expecting silver to be doing very, very well because silver can be used in even commercial, whereas gold is mainly held as a value. So to answer your question, in terms of the precious metal, I'll just confine myself to gold and silver because there will be copper, there will be a lot of other kind of metals which we are not truly familiar with. But where gold is concerned, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, is talking about revisiting to the gold standard because right now, after the Bretton Woods Agreement, which was cancelled in 1981, we did not have to depend on the gold standard. Most nations can issue their currencies and print more money without any backing of gold. But can we come back to having the gold standard? Is there enough gold in the world? What are the gold reserves? So I think investing in gold and silver is something, again, which I would seriously look into it myself, perhaps even put 20% of my portfolio into precious metal. Now, Warren Buffett, the greatest investor recognized of all times, does not believe in gold. He believes in an organic organization that can generate income and profit. Things like Coca-Cola and Gillette and Bank of America, these are his very, very good investments. When you ask him to buy gold, he said, I look at the gold doesn't do anything, doesn't produce, doesn't give me a profit and loss account or a financial statement. It only goes up or goes down. But recently, he spent 500 million and he bought into Barrick Gold. And that was the first time ever that Warren Buffett bought into a gold mine. Actually, he didn't buy gold per se. He bought into a gold mine shares. Now, $500 million is a lot of money, but it is a very, very little in terms of his entire portfolio. So he has gone into gold. And not only that, for the first time, Warren Buffett has gone to invest in 5 companies in Japan. For the very, very first time, he has invested out of the US. So does that tell us something about his outlook on the US dollar? Where do you think the US dollar will be headed? Because despite the Federal Reserve printing more and more money, trillions of dollars, the US dollar is still very strong. Actually, when you have more US dollar out there, it should be diluted, but it seems to be quite strong. Okay, I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you. There's one more questions before we pass on to Texing. This brother say, what is your investment portfolio? And question 1. Question 2, do you have advisors on foreign or local stock markets to manage risk?
Right. My investment portfolio is quite traditional, and generally it is in the area of real estate. I like real estate because I can see it, I can manage it, it's nearby, and it's all within my reach. And I handle this mainly with my tenants. And most of my investments are in commercial properties. They are standalone shop houses, and because they are run and operated by businesses, so they have income and they can pay my rental. My other investment portfolio is in the area of stocks and shares in Bursa Malaysia, and I do a thorough evaluation before I invest. Now I am looking into options trading in the US market. The options trading, of course, is in US dollars and is in the largest market in the world. And I find the options trading is very, very interesting. I have just started, and right now I'm not putting in a single dollar because of the US election, the presidential election. And I've been watching stocks like Microsoft, Apple, Tesla. Tesla has gone up bazookas, and stocks like Peloton, those stocks like Visa, um, uh, PayPal. PayPal is a really, really good company, and Peloton is very good. Peloton is about a bicycle. Because people cannot go out now, they can actually ride their bike and interact with people all over the world. So their shares have gone up tremendously, and so has Tesla shares. So if you believe in Elon Musk and in his electrical vehicles and his batteries, then look at it with a long-term perspective. Apple is the first company that has gone beyond a 2 trillion valuation. It was the first company that achieved a 1 trillion valuation. 1 trillion is a phenomenal amount of money. That was, I think, about a year and a half ago. Today, they are valued at more than $2 trillion. So will Apple continue to grow? Well, Microsoft, what about Facebook? What about Amazon? These are the FANG companies, the FAANG. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. These are the FANG companies, and of course, Microsoft. So these tech companies and also the pharmaceutical companies, the health companies, these are the companies very worth our studying and putting a little bit of investment into it. That is what I'm doing.
Thank you. I think question 2 is that whether you have advisor on some of this portfolio that you're taking.
I'm not a financial advisor, Professor Stanley, because I'm not licensed to be, even though I'm a chartered accountant. I do not hold a CFA license, and I do not work for any financial advisory organization. But what I do is, I do have people who want to learn about the fundamentals, the basics, the foundation about investing. So I do give coaching to some young people free of charge. I also have seminars and workshops which I conduct. And apart from that, I generally share with friends who are interested to learn over the dinner table.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that offer. I think the question this brother asked is that, do you, Allen Tong, have any advisor to some of this portfolio?
Oh, you mean, do I have people advising me?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes, it is.
Do I have people advising me?
Yes.
Yes,
your mentor,
I do.
That means.
Yes, I do. I have, in fact, most of my mentors and people I am learning from are millennials and very, very young people. They are in their 20s. Some of them are in their early 30s. They are very, very young. They are very, very savvy, extremely niche into the situation. and they're very, very innovative and creative. I have 3 people in one company that I subscribe to them and they teach me regularly. And in another company, I also have 4 people. There I have 4 people who teach me regularly. So I attend and I subscribe to a lot of their courses regularly. Personally, I spend 5 to 7 hours a day improving my financial skills, especially during this MCO period. I decided to concentrate and focus and fine tune into the area of understanding how to make my money work smart, how to make my money work better, and also to share this with others. You know, people who are in our age group often find it quite hard to change because some people say after the age of 25, we cannot learn new things. That is for most people. I don't believe that is true, but I suppose to a large extent, some people do not want to learn new things. They want to just be comfortable where they are. But I'm learning new things every day, and I don't even have enough time to learn new things. Like just like today's topic, I've got so much to share, but not enough time. Just in 1 hour, it's not enough time.
Yeah, well, thank you, Alan, for that wide spectrum of sharing. So now I pass back to Tek Seng.
Wow, Alan, you are really a top class, really an investment consultant.
I'm not an investment consultant.
Looks like next year we have to get you to come back and conduct a series of webinars, especially for those millennials. And I think that is exciting because we really find that these topics is very, very exciting and also very beneficial to even our couples who actually want to learn how to even manage their finances and also invest their money and grow their money, right? And this is so good. And let us close with a word of prayer. Yeah. Father, we want to thank you for Allen Tong to come on today to share with us. And we did indeed, Lord, that he has so much gems to share with us and providing us with the handles of this money management. And we know, the Lord, that we need to really build up our family this financial foundation so that we will be able, Lord, to have the finances and the resources to be able to give. And because we know the Lord, that you have sent Alan to speak to each and every one of us, so that there's so much things that we can learn, from this webinar talk, and we want to just digest them and begin to see the Lord, that you put all this into practice, and Lord, that we know as we begin to just pour out and even soul out by faith, we know the Lord, that you will just multiply, you will continue to do it continue, Lord, that use us for your glory. We thank you, Lord, for Alan and also for Jeanette, the Lord, that this wonderful couple who have been faithfully journeying with Family First since the start of our Family First. And we know, the Lord, that you are going to use Alan mightily, not just in Malaysia, but you are going to propel him to go on the global stage to share that whatever knowledge that he has actually accumulated to the global audience. We want to give you thanks. We praise you, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.